Hello to Emanuel Shahaf.
Hello, hello.
What would be the headline of this report?
The chaos continues.
Continues.
Yes.
Yet there is a deal that's about to be happening in between Israel and the Hamas.
Yes. A deal that was actually on the table already several months ago.
The same one?
The same one with very minor changes. That Israel's government, or the Prime Minister mainly, absolutely refused to accept, has been rammed down our throats by Trump, who's basically insisting that the deal is accepted. And I think the Prime Minister will agree to that.
And this sort of deal, while Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu had to deliver or to decide in between the Trump's leverage or Ben Gvir's leverage, he decided?
Trump. He went for Trump, obviously. There's a lot more to be gained or lost by fighting with the Trump administration. So he did the only thing that he should have done as Prime Minister, and he acceded to American demands.
So basically, the weakness of Biden was part of the reasons that the deal didn't rise up before.
Yes, the fact that Biden was not willing to use brute force against our government resulted in the deal not being processed at the time.
What kind of force can be leveraged upon Netanyahu? What is happening, according to your understanding, in the quiet, secret meetings between the Trump administration?
Well, the whole future policy in the Middle East is at stake. Okay, obviously, the Trump administration wants to continue with the Abraham Accords with Saudi Arabia. Netanyahu wants to continue with his policies in the West Bank, so in order to get support from the U.S. administration for both, he needs to work according to Trump's diktats.
Do you think that this would conclude the war in Gaza for the second or the third phase?
I'm afraid not. I think what our government will try to do, or Netanyahu will try to do, is wiggle out of the agreement after the first phase. I think Netanyahu doesn't want the war to stop, and it really depends how much the U.S. and the incoming administration is willing to engage. If they're not going to be too busy with other things and will let Netanyahu wiggle out of it somehow, claiming that Hamas doesn't honor the agreements, which is always a possibility. But I don't think that our government will live up to the agreement unless the U.S. government continues to put massive pressure on us.
And do you think that Netanyahu would like that 60 or 70 Israelis will be kept in the Gaza under the Hamas?
I think what he will claim is that most of them are dead anyway, and that continuing with the deal would be counterproductive or would not be good for Israel under the circumstances, and wouldn't suit the purpose he wants, which is to destroy Hamas completely.
And part of the deal would be that around 33 Israelis each day are going to rise up, and then their families, the nation would know what is their condition, whether they are alive or not.
Yes. Yes, this is
a horror show.
It's a horror show, and this is the first part of the deal. And this is why it may happen that in the wake of the first part of the deal, there'll be a public uprising in order to make sure that the deal continues, and that may bring down the government. But I don't know whether that's going to happen.
Do you think that the Palestinians, murderers that are coming out from the Israeli prison, would become the next Yahya Sinwar?
Very likely. There's no reason for those who were taken into prison for being terrorists that they'll stop being terrorists if the situation outside hasn't changed. Okay, and there's nothing right now on the horizon which seems to indicate that the situation is going to change. So they're going to be in another situation of occupation, trying to fight Israel's occupation, and they're not going to stop being terrorists. And there's no reason why they should.
And what is going to be happening to the Gaza Strip, to what was left from the Gaza after the war?
Well, whatever's going to be happening to the Gaza Strip, it's our responsibility.
The Israeli one.
It's Israeli responsibility. Even before that, you could claim that Hamas was in charge of the Gaza Strip, even though that, according to the international law, we were responsible. But now it's clear that we're occupying the Gaza Strip. We are the occupation force, and as occupiers, we are responsible. And it will reflect on us, whatever is going on there. So we'll be responsible, no matter what happens. So we better find something to develop the situation there.
Would you visualize the next Singapore of the Middle East with the wonderful seashores of Gaza being reborn?
Maybe in 50 years or more than that, but it doesn't appear on the horizon at this time. Because
the next arrangement, according to the Abraham Accords, is going to be between Israel and Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, and that's not going to happen if we don't come up with some future plan, not for Gaza and for the West Bank as well. So we're going to have to try harder.
Because October 7th might occur again otherwise?
Absolutely. October 7th is or something along that line is going to happen again if we don't change the context completely, and we're not about to at this time.
Define the new context that you believe and recommend, according to your books, that should be done in order to offer new hope.
The new context is one of working together with the Palestinians to create a normal life in Israel-Palestine.
What about the word peace?
That will be the outcome of creating a normal life. Okay, so I think it's more important to work with the situation on the ground and make sure that the situation on the ground lends itself to a peaceful future, than to talk about peace right now, which seems to be so incredible and unlikely at this time. So I think we should talk about changing the situation on the ground so people can live together in a normal way.
You think that the situation in which almost every day so many Israeli young soldiers are dying in Gaza, some of them were dying in Lebanon, it's a situation that became normal for the Israelis?
Absolutely. We have just like we have normalized the killing in Gaza, we're normalizing the killing of our own soldiers in this conflict, and it's the other side of the same coin. Okay, lack of empathy towards Palestinians, it reflects into a normalization of killings of our own soldiers.
How can Israelis open their heart again after the trauma of October 7th?
I think mostly they need leadership and they need reflection. We need a time of calm reflection and good leadership so we can come out of this and redevelop our own soul, because this is what it takes.
And it's possible, do you think? It can be changed again?
It's possible. Countries have done it, and we have to do it as well.
The former President Rivlin came up with a plan that talks about the cantons, the same that your plan of the Federation is mentioning. What exactly can be this implementation of the cantons plan?
Well, I haven't read it in detail, and I want to meet with former President Rivlin to talk about it. But it's very likely to be something like along the Federation. We're talking about regional autonomies working together under a federal government. That seems to be the only way out, and I'm happy to hear that others are also talking about it. and that seems to be the future. It's just so unlikely for people to grasp that something like this can be happening that we have to work very hard to make sure people beginning to start to believe it.
You've mentioned slightly the next elections. Do you think that the Israeli people are going to be far more on the right wing in the outcome of the next elections?
It's difficult to tell. It depends who are the people who are running.
We know
and
them.
It's difficult. It also depends on how you define right wing. Okay, it's very simplistic to say they're going to be more right, because more right, the right wing is against separation from the Palestinians. Okay. So actually that's something which is in any future plan that Israel and Palestinians are together is something that the left can also connect to under certain circumstances. So there's a lot of room for coalitions. Generally speaking, Israelis are probably going to be more right-wing as a result of the October 7th, but there will be surprises.
Part of the surprise that at the end of each episode together of the interviews here, Emanuel Shahaf, you are coming up with one good news. What would be one for this?
I'm going to be traveling together with my Palestinian partner Taysir Abu Saada to the United States for a short tour of lectures, giving lectures to Muslim, Christian and Jewish communities in Michigan and in New York. And we're going to pre-sale our book there.
The new book
that
you wrote together.
Talking about joint sovereignty and in the federation.
Emanuel Shahaf, I want to thank you very, very much for this interview and have the great success in the lectures in the United States.
Thank you.
Thank you.